young Nigerians abroad, aka Jackpot syndrome, and actually, and in preference for other nations. The lawmaker referenced statistics from the Nigerian Economic Summit showing that a growing number of young Nigerians are relocating abroad. Agbese said the House is concerned that the growing statistics of young Nigerians leaving Nigeria and securing permanent residence in the United Kingdom and United States of America and also Canada portends a grave danger for our nation in many ways, from economic to intellectual and social aspects. The House is also concerned that the Nigerian population is made of two-thirds of persons under the age of 30, and a good number of these persons are already afflicted with what today is acceptably referred to as the Jackpot syndrome. As estimates indicate, a staggering tens of thousands have relocated to the USA, Canada, South Africa, and even Gambia over the last 2 years. The part of Gambia is really worrisome if you would look at it from that perspective. However, what is it that they are doing well that we are not doing here in Nigeria that makes some of our youths to move to such countries? All right. The House is worried that the eagerness to migrate to countries that offer hope seems to have compelling influence. The House is also worried that those living in Nigeria are not just the poor, but middle class who possesses skills, including bankers, lecturers, healthcare practitioners, doctors, nurses, trained manpower, all of whom were trained in Nigeria and immigrating to at a time when Nigeria deserves services, when we need to build a strong and vibrant economy. Agbese expressed the concern that if the trend was allowed to continue with our able minds, brains, skills, it's really going to affect the prosperity of our great country Nigeria, and Nigeria may fall into grave crisis. However, after a ranking member of the House, Dennis Idahosa, seconded the motion, another ranking member, Sada Soli, raised a constitutional point of order to say that the motion would infringe on the fundamental rights of Nigerians if adopted by the chamber. Soli partly said it is the liberty of a Nigerian if he is qualified and he is normal and he has all the granted rights of movements to anywhere he wants. It is the right of a Nigerian, and if he has the right qualifications to go anywhere to source for a living. Also opposing to the bill, the immediate past Deputy Speaker of the House, Ahmed Wase, said as good as the motion may be, first, the fundamental issue raised in the Constitution, if you go to Section 1, Subsection 3 of the Constitution, it says, any law that is inconsistent with the Constitution to the extent of that inconsistency is best null and void. So as far as I am concerned, we have to rule on the point of order raised by Soli before we can proceed. Otherwise, we will be contributing to the contravention of our own Constitution. When the Speaker, Tajuddin Abbas, eventually put adoption of the motion to voice note, the lawmakers unanimously voted against it. Yes, the Jackpot syndrome is what we are talking of this beautiful morning. Yeah, there was a motion raised by a new member, Agbese, about the Jackpot syndrome. What do you think of this particular issue? Yes, it is a constitutional right that if you have the right qualification, you can go anywhere at all, you can have a better life. But some are of the school of thought that Nigeria is our own, so why would we, or why should we leave Nigeria for other countries and make those countries' economy better than we leave Nigeria, which is our own, languishing and trying to struggle. You have your right, you have your voice here. We want to hear from you. If you call the studio lines, you get through to us and also lend your voices on this particular issue. The numbers to call 0700 010 961 961 0700 010-961-961. You can either call or send in your SMS, or you can call us through the WhatsApp handle or send your WhatsApp message about the Jackpot syndrome. It is a constitutional right of citizens that you can move anywhere you want to move. However, there is a great concern among some Nigerians, the fact that we should do our own things right. The new government should set things in order so that it will discourage some Nigerians from leaving the shores of this country for other countries seeking for greener pasture. We already have Nigeria that is green, so to say. So really, we need things to work well for us in our country so that it will discourage our people from leaving. If you go check the statistic, especially considering the number of health workers leaving the shores of Nigeria, Nigerian doctors, Nigerian nurses, a lot of other countries are seeking the services of Nigerians because Nigerians are very, very talented. In every sphere of life, you go to developed nations, you see a lot of Nigerians making very positive stride over there. So why can't we also set our own country on that path? But we cannot do that unless and until we have the right atmosphere. We need the infrastructure set in place for these youths to stay back in the country and set the country on the path to stardom, on the path to development, on the path to prosperity. So you and I have role to play in this regard concerning the Jackpot syndrome. It is not going to fly in the chambers of the National Assembly, talking about the House of Reps, because it has been unanimously shut down by members yesterday in the floor of the National Assembly. So let's move on with other stories this morning. Yes, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has inaugurated the National Economic Council. Yes, talking about NEC yesterday, and he says no excuse for failure. President Bola Tinubu yesterday morning inaugurated the National Economic Council at the council chamber of the State House, Abuja. The inauguration comes a week after he has directed council members to concretize intervention plans to mitigate the effect of the petroleum subsidy. Tinubu, who inaugurated the NEC at 11:25 a.m., said the task of growing the nation's economy is quite enormous. Therefore, there will be no excuse for failure or complaint, as all the elected officials asked, campaign and dance for the job, the president said. That was the funny part for me. Yeah, when you got the position, you dance, you campaign, and you wanted people to vote you. Now you have been voted, so the responsibility is now on you to discharge, to deliver, to make sure that you contribute your own quota to nation building. The president also urged the council to work together and support his administration's mandate to transform the economic fortunes of the country, saying collaboration is not a crime. Let us do so. Afterwards, the president departed the chambers for his office as Vice President. Kashim Shettima stirred the discussion amongst council members. The NEC was established by the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, Section 153, subsection 1, and paragraph 18 and 19 of Part 1 of the third schedule. Is said so. Chaired by Vice President Kashim Shettima, the council, which meets monthly, has the mandate to advise the president concerning the economic affairs of the federation, and in particular on measures necessary for the coordination of the economic planning efforts or economic programs of various governments of the federation. Its members comprises 36 state governors, the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, and other co-opted government officials. Yesterday, virtually all the governors were there, or were either there in person or represented by their deputy governor. And also the secretary of the government of the federation, George Akume, was there. The chief of staff of Femi Gbajabiamila was also there. The group CEO of NNPC, Melokolo Kyari, was also there. Acting Accountant General of the Federation, Oluwatoyin Madin. Acting Governor of Central Bank, Folashodun Shunobi. Permanent Secretary, Budget and National Planning, Federal Capital Territory Administration, and State House were also in attendance. Headed by Kashim Shettima, our economic team, talking about the National Economic Council, who are saddled with the responsibility of repositioning our economic affairs in this country. Kashim Shettima, yes, an experienced fellow, two-time governor of Borno State, also former senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and he is actually an agricultural economist. So he's a well-traveled individual. He knows the economy very well. He was in the banking sector. Let's just give them benefit of that. Hopefully that they will be able to change the tide of Nigeria for economic prosperity. That is what we are praying for going forward. Abuja, don't forget you can also be part of this conversation by reaching us on the studio line 0700 010 961 961 0700 010 961 961. You can also contribute your own quota to nation building by contributing in this conversation, and that is why we are here. Voice of the people. Now you have a voice. You can be heard. Your voice matters. Don't just sit on the fence. Like I always say, make sure you jump into the conversation and make sure your voice is heard. It's front page review here on Voice of the People 96.1 FM Abuja, and my name is Aliu Doma. Stay with me and don't go nowhere. All right, welcome back. In case you just joined, this is VOP 96.1 front page review is what we are doing. Let's move on. There is an editorial here from the Punch newspaper that says, amend PIA, dismantle NNPC immediately. Amend Petroleum Industry Act, dismantle NNPC immediately. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited is once again at the center of a storm in the space of a week. A parliamentary probe unearthed more details on its blurry operations. A state governor stunningly alleged that the last administration wasted 19 billion US dollars on the moribund refineries, and a public revenue agency accused it of withholding trillions from the national treasury. The NNPC's cup is full. President Bola Tinubu should immediately kickstart the process of dismantling the corrupt, tottering behemoth and restructuring it into a value-adding and transparent national oil company. Established 46 years ago, the NNPC has been notorious for befuddled accounting, waste, losses, rundown refineries, and non-remittance of cash due to the Federation account. Unlike other national oil companies in the Middle East, Norway, China, and Russia, the company repeatedly incurs huge losses, cannot refine crude oil, or profitably maintain its other strategic assets. It endangers the country's economic health because the oil sector provides 95% of Nigeria foreign exchange earnings and 80% of budget funding. Tinubu's risky market-oriented policies are not complete without a root and branch surgical operation at the NOC, where capacity and impunity reign. At the 7th Wole Soyinka Center Media Lecture Series in Abuja in July 2015, Nasir El-Rufai, immediate past governor of Kaduna State, summed up the country's urgent assignment: if you don't kill the NNPC, it will kill you. The Punch has for long asserted that the company is so steeped in its wayward ways that it is unreformable. Its recent rebranding, ostensibly in furtherance of the new Petroleum Industry Act, is cosmetic. It should be dismantled outright and a new, leaner, and accountable NOC with some private sector participation established and purely as a holding and investment group. The NNPC killer mode was again highlighted by a House of Representatives committee that accused it of failing to transfer 2 trillion naira to the Federation account after the PIA came into effect in 2021. Former President Muhammadu Buhari unveiled a company worth $64 billion, 28 trillion naira at 450 naira per dollar, but only $58.8 billion or 26 trillion naira was allegedly transferred. There was allegation of differential in that particular amount, which a lot of Nigerians are also staging claim that forensic investigation, forensic audit of the NNPC is overdue, is long overdue. And if we are going to make headway in terms of generating more revenue and also improving on forex into this country, we have to look at the NNPC holistically and do a complete overhaul. The Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission has also corroborated allegations by the 36 state governors that the NNPC withheld money due to the Federation account in 2022. The Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission Chairman Muhammad Shehu said the NOC did not remit 8.4 trillion naira due from oil proceeds between January 2022 and May 2023. The NNPC claims to have withheld the sum as under recovery, that is, talking about petroleum subsidy, as the sole importer of petrol so far. For years, the NNPC determined the quantity consumed daily and the under recovery it paid itself. Thankfully, Tinubu is ending that travesty. And Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Sule said the Buhari administration wasted $19 billion to rehabilitate the 4 state-owned refineries without a result. The same amount Dangote has invested in its 650,000 barrels per day refinery. The Goodluck Jonathan administration had said it would borrow $1.6 billion for turnaround maintenance. Under Buhari, the NNPC borrowed $1.5 billion also for turnaround maintenance. If we go on and on and on, it's very lengthy. It is an editorial on the Punch newspaper. You could go take a look at it and see some of the staggering claim that is contained on this particular editorial. However, as a Nigerian, you may want to say something about this particular piece of information. Some they're calling that amend PIA, dismantle NNPC immediately. We could recall that the PIA had to follow a lot of procedure up and down, back and forth, before it was finally assented to by the president. And now suggestion is that it should be amended, and also NNPC should be dismantled immediately. Let's have your say on this particular conversation we are having in the studio. The phone line to call and be heard as 0700 010 961 961 0700 010 961 961. You can either call or send in your messages. We are here in the studio to make sure we attend to you immediately. You're listening to VOP 96.1 front page review is what we are doing for today. Remember, by 7:30 we will be joining our guest analyst Rufai Useni, who will also lend his voice on these particular headlines that we have brought up for you. And let's take a look at this particular information coming. Plateau State, Plateau local government crisis. State Assembly passes no confidence vote on CP. The Plateau State House of Assembly yesterday passed a vote of no confidence on the State Commissioner of Police CP Bartholomew Onyeka and called for the immediate reopening of the Secretariat of the 17 local government areas in the state. Honorable Ishaku Maren, member representing Boko State constituency, made the disclosure while addressing journalists on behalf of other members of the House. The legislators accused the State Commissioner of Police of misleading the IGP on the true situation of things in the state because of his political interest and involvement. The lawmaker maintained that the police ought to protect lives and property of citizens and to give proper protection to constituted authorities within the state, saying that what is rather happening in the state was a reversal. Maren further maintained that the Commissioner of Police, instead of being neutral in the political situation, has proven otherwise. And report that the Inspector General of Police, IGP Usman Al-Ali Baba, ordered the Plateau State Commissioner of Police to seal up all the secretariat of the 17 local government council in the state. It will be recalled that the Plateau State Governor, Caleb Mutwang, had recently approved the immediate suspension of the 17 local government council chairmen whose tenure had not elapsed. a development which did not go down well with the opposition, All Progressives Congress APC in the state, as it has condemned the decision in totality. Most of the suspended council chairmen elected on the platform of APC refused to vacate their offices for the incoming PDP transition committee members to take over, thereby creating tension in the state. But the police in the state issued statement in Jos, the state capital, by the police public relations officer DSP Alfred Alabo, said the decision to seal off all the local government secretariat became necessary as a result of tension around the leadership of the local government areas and the possible threats that supporters of the suspended local government chairman were posing to critical infrastructure, lives, and properties in the state. This is really a case that we have to look at critically, because this has to do with constitution. These local government chairmen were duly elected. They have a tenure to serve in office. However, the state governor came out to say they should vacate office, and he came up with transition committee, which automatically will be from his political party. And the APC in that state are saying, no, we have a tenure to serve, and we have to serve our time in office before we leave, which led to some issues. And now the State House of Assembly are saying that the Commissioner of Police in Plateau State is taking side, because he has ordered his men to go lock down all the secretariat, the 17 local government secretariat in the state. However, we heard what the PRO said, that it's because of fear of breakdown of law and order as a result of the supporters of the particular local government chairman, that resulted to the police going to shut down the local government secretariat. But however, if we look at this situation constitutionally, this local government chairman have a time to serve in office. Why would the state government, say they should vacate office? Again, it also brings us to this particular issue that I have been mulling for quite some time, issue of state police. What would you expect we would have, for instance, in Plateau State, if we had a state-controlled police, that is a state police controlled by the state government? That is some of the, those are some of the issues that people are raising, some concerns that people are observing, that if you say, let's have state police, yes, some of the positive are that those people are going to be from the state. They know the nook and crannies of the state. They will be able to control the excesses of so many members of the state, because they are indigents of those particular locations or that particular state. But the government will be the financier. They're talking about the state government. And if the government are the financier, then he who pays the piper dictates the tune. That is some of what the issues that people are looking at. So, but if you want to also contribute on this conversation, you have something to say on this particular issue, you can call us on our studio line 0700 010 961 961 0700 010 961 961. This is VOP 96.1 FM. Now you have a voice. Front page review is what we are doing this morning, and in no distant time we will be linking up with our guest analysts by 7:30 in person of Rufai Useni, who will also be giving us an expert opinion on some of these stories that we are bringing to you this beautiful Friday morning. Don't forget, you can follow us on our social media handles, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, and also YouTube, Voice of the People 961. If you search Voice of the People, you will certainly see us there. And this phone number, just like we used to reiterate and make sure people understand that it is a correct number, even though it's not as the one you usually know, 0702 or 0707 or 0708. This is 070 070 001 0961 961, or I could say 0700 010 961 961. If you call, you will get through to the studio or you can send in your messages through SMS or WhatsApp. We are here to listen to your calls. All right, it's now time for us to link up with our guest analyst in person of Rufai Hussaini to have a conversation around some of these topics that we have for discussion this beautiful morning. All right, don't forget this is Front Page Review on VOP 96.1 FM Abuja. Now you have a voice. You can be part of our conversation this morning. All right, we have Mr. Rufai Hussaini join us via the telephone. Hello, good morning, Mr. Rufai Hussaini. Hello, Kenny.
Bless you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I hope you're doing well this morning.
Bless you. Yes, I am.
All right.
Bless you.
So we are going to start with this particular headline from the Punch newspaper that says, Reps shoot down bill to check Japa. I'm sure you have seen that particular news where the House of Representatives shoot down. They are unanimously voted against the motion seeking to make the federal government address issues causing Nigerian professionals to migrate to other countries en masse in search of greener pasture. So what would you say about this particular bill or motion that was gone down by the members?
Okay, the truth has to be said. If our reps shut down a bill like that, it shows they are a very bunch of unserious people, which is very sad. They're a big bunch of unserious people because these are the pertinent issues affecting us in this country today. Okay. I'd like to know the content. I'd like to know what was in it. I'd like to know why the reps shut it down. And the truth has to be said that if they did shut down the bill that was talking about how to solve the issues, why our professional class live in the country, which we don't know is a ticking time bomb as regards developmental skills for our country. Take, for instance, let me tell you how bad this is. You remember during the cash Naira redesign, the real bone tension was the fact that our online services for banks did not work because most of the talent had left. And that's why we could not absorb that capacity of need for transactions. So when you have things like that in the country, and the rep shut down the bill, so I'd like to, can you please double click on that story indeed?
Yeah.
What's the bill? All of this, so I can make a very more rounded, submission on it.
All right. I mean, a first-timer in the House, Basi, said the House is concerned that the growing statistic of young Nigerians leaving Nigeria and securing permanent residence in the United Kingdom, the USA, and also Canada portends a grave danger for our nation in many ways, from economic to intellectual and socials. But the House is also concerned that the Nigerian population is made of 2/3 of persons under the age of 30, and a good number of these persons are already afflicted with what today is acceptably referred to as the Japa syndrome. But what really happened later on, after the motion was seconded by another member of the House, Dennis Idahosa, who is a ranking member of the House, then Sada Soli, who is also a ranking member, raised a particular point that really made them to shut down this particular bill, where he said it is the liberty of a Nigerian, if he is qualified and he is normal and he has all the granted right of movement to anywhere he wants, it is the right of a Nigerian, if he has the right qualification, to go anywhere to source for a living.
Okay.
They cited the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria.
I'm going to be it. I think even the problem is, that's what I wonder, the kind of people we vote into the National Assembly. I wonder the kind of, the argument context framing was wrong.
Okay.
Sabasoli was right to say people have the liberty to be able to go everywhere.
Yeah.
But the argument itself initially was wrong by just saying, no, 2/3 of the sizable part of the population are Japanese. No. The problem case, I think, and in terms of framing, probably we're in Abuja, so lawmakers can. The problem case should be there's been a whittling down of skills in our professional sector based on the phenomenon of this japa, because mid-level managers and highly skilled individuals are the ones that are leaving, and it's affecting the growth of our corporate sector. Because invariably what is happening is that we are training talent, companies are also retraining people, but they are going to add to the economy of other countries. So what are the things we can do? And this bill, if there was any suggestion for the bill, it should not be centered around one. The government should do something speedily about A, tackling cost of living, B, giving subventions or tax breaks, all right,
Yeah.
for companies, so that they too can able to pay a measurable fee. Also, having something I call a career path definition, because you see, the reason why most people leave companies in Nigeria is because they don't have a career future. You can work in a company for so many years, and the next day, what becomes of you? Also, bringing in a very strong worker insurance, if possible, making it mandatory to also have, apart from contribution pension scheme, life insurance packages. Right?
Yeah.
Fourthly, also improving on the economic prospect so that workers, it will be very attractive for workers to stay. Fifth, also improving innovation and development of science and research and technology through, intergovernmental and corporate sector research hubs, so that people will be able to look forward to prospects of development in their research, very those that in the ICT sector. So these are the things I think that a bill like this should entail. But the presentation of the argument itself is wrong. We are not saying japa is not a phenomenon. People migrate everywhere in the world. But I think the target is the fact that our intellectual class are the ones living. And I'll give you an instance. This has happened to us before. This is not the first japa phenomenon.
Yeah.
In 1980, between 1983 and 1986, and no, between 1983 and 1990,
Yeah.
when the economy started fast in 1982, 83 under Shagari, when there was a recession,
Yeah.
at the first set of japa, that phenomenon then was called the Andrews. You remember the song by Veno Mario Gary?
Yeah.
Andrew, no, here goes survive. So then they were called the Andrews. All right?
Yeah.
And what we did then was because the economic prospect was improved. And let me shock you. Most of the professors and the intellectuals that left our university system then, till today, we've not been able to replace them. And that's where the first slump and reduction in quality of our university graduates started from. Because a lot of those lecturers left in droves when the economy. What we are having now is a second wave or a third iteration of that japa. They were the Andrews in the 80s. Today, they are the japas. But we keep losing our intellectual stock. And what you should do is you should hedge against this. Also, we should have a provision where we can bring intellectuals into the country. That's why you see that people all over the world have what they call special talent visas. So that these talents will be able to come and develop their country. You see, intellectual migration is so critical that we should defend it, because after the Second World War, why America advanced astronomically was because most of the scientists they persecuted, being Jews in Germany, migrated in droves to America and developed the prospect of America. Example are the likes of Albert Einstein, that became one of the biggest scientists of this century.
Yeah.
So that phrase an argument. I don't think the argument was phrased properly. That's why I said let me get the full context.
All right, now
let's move on to the next
talking about the argument not being phrased properly, don't you think now, because it was raised by a first timer in the House, now don't you think this is going to also affect the pace at which bills are going to be passed in the House, because there are a lot of new timers,
I
first
think,
time members.
no, it's not going to affect anything. I think if he brings forward this argument,
Mm,
like I phrased it,
yeah.
if, listening to this, if he phrases it this way,
Mm.
I'm to nobody will be able to shut it down with a counter argument.
No, I mean
Because what you are close,
other bills, not
no, no,
particular this one. Won't it affect the pace at which other bills
no,
are going to be passed rather?
there's not going to affect anything. There's nothing going to affect. Bills get shut down every day. It's because your argument is not strong enough. It's a case of law. There's no emotions here.
Okay. All right, let's move on
That's why
to All right, let's move on to the next headline. Yesterday, we saw the president inaugurates the National Economic Council, headed by the Vice President Kashim Shettima. What would you say about the NEC now, headed by Kashim Shettima, who happens to be an agricultural economist going forward? What should we expect from such council?
they should get to work. There's a lot to work on. I mean, Kashim Shettima, apart from being an studying agric economist, has a lot of years of experience in banking
Yeah.
and work magic on this alien economy. They should get to work. Their work is settled for them. There are some people that have been put also on the special advisor list. Yeah,
Yes.
some good hands, likes of Wale Edo and all. They should get to work. They should get to work. There's no time to waste. We are already behind. Next story, please.
All right, there's this story on the Punch that says amend PIA. It's an editorial from the Punch newspaper. Amend PIA, dismantle NNPC immediately. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited is once again at the center of a storm in the space of a week. A parliamentary probe unearthed more details on its blurry operations. A state governor stunningly alleged that the last administration wasted $19 billion on the moribund refineries, and a public revenue agency accused it of withholding trillions from the national treasury. The NNPC's cup is full. Though it's very lengthy. It's about the NNPC that it should be dissolved.
Truth of the matter is, I don't think that conversation is tenable if we listen to our laws in this country. Those were the things the guy explicitly stated. So the conversation about dismantling an NPC now, we've already had that conversation before in the past. We've already had that conversation in the past. But whatever economics we're doing with the NNPC, I think it's beginning to get to his last days. I think it's beginning to get to his last days. Since we set up the NNPC in 1977 or thereabout, it's just been one kind of war. It's become another chop avenue for the boys. But all of that needs to end as we need to start moving forward and looking forward to the prospect and possibility of making our nation better. A story I want to talk about, and I'm shocked that you didn't put it, is the story of the fact that inflation has risen to 22.141%, which is very sad.
Okay, I was able
We've
to
not,
go in there. I have it here.
we've not been able to nip inflation in the bud, and inflation has become problematic in our country. And if you don't nip it in the bud, then it's disastrous. And this is just for the month of May. With the first subsidy removal, definitely we'd like to see the inflationary impact for the month of. And I think that's the first target the CBN should go ahead and try as much as possible to fix, because it's really, really damning. And another story I'd like to talk about is the fact that 6 days on, they've still kept a Mefele in DSS custody. The authorities in DSS should please respect the laws of land. Please.
Okay.
Take him to anything you have found against him in your research. Let the law take its course. Keeping him there constantly is against the laws. Let's call a spade to build a formidable and strong country.
All right.
You want to say something?
Yeah. Finally, before we let you go, the comparison have begun to come up between President Bola Tinubu's first 2 weeks in office and that of his predecessor, President Muhammadu Buhari. What would you say concerning this comparison that is coming? That Tinubu is kind of setting up his economic team, his cabinet. He's setting up his cabinet a bit faster than his predecessor. What impact would you think this is going to have on our economy?
Please, there's nothing to compare. There are two different people and they have two different styles.
Okay.
Buhari deemed to do his own in 6 months when he came in the 20. Tinubu deemed to do his own in 2 weeks. Bola Ahmed Tinubu is Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Muhammadu Buhari is Muhammadu Buhari. Exposures differ, mindset differ, mentality differ. It's as pure and simple as that. There's nothing to compare. All we want to see is outcomes and productive outcomes. So it's not about studying an economic team. It's about seeing inflation numbers start to trend downwards. It's about seeing productive outcomes start to improve for Nigeria. It's about seeing the country doing well in all ramifications. It's about fighting poverty that inundates a lot of lives in Nigeria. It's about improving the prospect and developing the prospects of people. It's about reducing out of school children, which is a big problem. It's about reducing the incidence of insecurity. It's about expanding business opportunities so that there's more money in the pockets of people. And it's about, most importantly, making Nigerians proud of their country once again. And if we are not doing that, and we are not upholding the tenets of democracy, and we are not being fair to that, then the outcomes are not good. And that's why I'm still sad about the fact that many days after the confession by Mr. Bukachua, till date, the NJC, I've not seen an official statement that they're going to review all the legal cases that his wife was involved in. Till date, we've not seen anything being said. So what we are pretty much practicing is now paddy-paddy-cracy. Because if there's a big indictment like that on the judiciary, that the husband of top jurists in the country can come out to say such a thing, and we are not hearing heads rolling, then we know what we are practicing is paddy-paddy-cracy. Just like what I call for fairness across board in an economy and in a country where people make insightful religious statements, but nothing is done to them. Nobody calls them to order. The religious judges does not call them to order. Just like what Nasir El-Rufai said the other day. So we are looking for better outcomes. And if the outcomes are better, we'll be able to solve this problem of Japan. We'll be able to, because you see, let me tell you something. Most of the Nigerians that are living their country, if their country was any better, they would not live.
Certainly.
You know what they go face over of weather, cold, hardship, pain. It's not as easy for them. Even the discomforts of not being in your country. I tell people every time I'm out of the country, I miss Nigeria more than anything. And I can't wait to come back. And when the plane lands back in Nigeria, and I come, the peace that pervades my heart. So it's not that anybody loves to leave their country in forced migration, but because they are forced economic migrants, and they have to go and use their skill where it's going to pay better. But if we can expand the size of the economy, target a 1 trillion economy, then things will move. I mean, if Nigeria economy can grow by double digits, anyway, it's not possible fiscally to grow like that now. But at least maybe in the next 4, 5, or 6, 7 years, when we have sustained economic reforms and we are growing big time and we are able to effectively diversify the economy, at least maybe in the next couple of years, 10, 15 years, if we grow heavily, we can be over $1 trillion economy. And that's what I've always envisaged for Nigeria. If we were to continue at the pace, minimal corruption, and there was good management, by today, Nigeria should be over $1 trillion economy. And you know what it means with $1 trillion economy? There's a $1 trillion opportunity for people. There's $1 trillion opportunity for development. So it's because of the size of the economy is so small. That's why we're having all the madness we're having. Grow the economy is not benefits. That's just my plea.
All right, and I think there is an update concerning the Balkachua issue, because the Nigerian Bar Association has written to the police and also ICPC that investigation should be open, and that confession, because I should say confession made by him, that the police and ICPC should go and investigate and make sure detailed investigation is carried out.
My brother, that's no good update. MBA, yes, will advocate, but the real update I want to hear is from National Judicial Council. They should start look at their reviewing all the cases involved. There should be an investigation to itemize all the colleagues that were helped. Mr. Bukachua should be made to talk further on the colleagues, because he said we know ourselves. Some of them are here, and they were looking at him.
Yes.
Before somebody said that, don't talk.
He was
should
halted
allow
not to
Mr.
talk for some
Bukatu,
over how many times?
they should allow Mr. Bukatu and name the colleagues that they help, and they should fish out those cases. And when they fish out those cases, we'll be able to bring those cases to the fore, and NJC should review those cases. And if they see that any slant is in there, they should reverse those cases. Let those people actually deservingly win. Let's not practice a culture. You see, that's why Richard Okorocha was making fun of Ahmed Lawan. How did you come back to the Senate? Even our incumbent president, how can you, even the incumbent Senate president?
Yeah.
He ran for
presidency.
How did he went to the court to be able to come back? They organize their own primaries in the corner. They say they've done primaries. You see, the magic will happen in this country. The magicocracy. Let's build a fair, just country. When we build a fair, just country, Nigeria will survive and it will do well.
Certainly.
It will do well. All of us will benefit. That's all I call for.
All right, thank
you. But
you.
it must not be a country of paddycracy.
All right.
If it's a country of paddy, if I'm not your paddy, then I will not benefit from the democracy. No. It shouldn't be that way. Bless you, my friend.
Bless you too. Thank you very much for lending your opinion on this today's conversation. I appreciate it. Have a nice day. All right, that was Mr. Rufai Useni, our analyst. You heard it from him. He has done justice to all the headlines that we have for today on Front Pages Review. However, if you also have something to say, you want to contribute on this conversation, you can reach us via the studio line 0700 010 961 961 0700 010-961-961. You can either call or send in your SMS, although you can also call us via the WhatsApp handle or send us WhatsApp message. We are here to make sure we hear to it, because this is Voice of the People in 96.1. Now you have a voice, so why not call the studio so that you will be heard? That is exactly the essence of we staying here. All right, before we wrap up the show, let's just look at a rundown of what we have talked on this morning. First, we started with a rep shoot down bill to check Japa syndrome. And also, we look at where Abdulaziz Yari, former governor of Zamfara State, came out to say he was betrayed by some members of the National Assembly because he felt that he was supposed to have won the election of becoming the Senate president of the 10th Assembly. And also we look at this news talking about editorial from the Punch that says amend PIA, dismantle NNPC immediately. We also take a look at the inauguration by Mr. President of the National Economic Council, which will be headed by Vice President Kashim Shettima. And also we look at finally this issue in Plateau State, where the Plateau State local government crisis went further, that the State Assembly passes no confidence vote on the Commissioner of Police there in Plateau State after the state governor Mufwang dissolved the local government chairman, duly elected local government chairman, and formed a transition committee. That is what we have looked at this morning on Front Pages Review. Don't forget, like I say, you can also follow us on our social media handles on Facebook, on YouTube. You can watch us live on YouTube. You could also, in case you miss any of the programs, you can go back to YouTube and also watch us there. You can follow us on Twitter. We're live on Instagram. Voice of the People 961. We are there. Make sure you give us a like and follow so that we
delicious juicy toppings. Remember that true happiness comes at special moments, and sometimes you don't wait for it, you simply ask for it. Ask for Romeo's Pizza. It comes in different toppings with delicious fillings you can resist. Have a pizza fun meal with Romeo's Pizza. Every bite is nice. Every slice brings a smile that helps you come alive. Romeo, the pizza champion. Light up your family times with delicious juicy toppings. Remember that true happiness comes at